powered by Riverside.
Hello and welcome. A special edition to the 4th&1 podcast. I, of course, am your host, Micaiah Schlicker. Simeon is along with us today, live from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, home of the Blue Jays. How you doing, Bo?
Oh, hey. We switching it up.
Yeah.
Blue Jays, Bears, blue and white.
It's a very blue and white town over there.
We were at the parents this week and enjoying myself.
That's how you kind of got to roll a little bit. Well, I do just kind of want to give an update where the podcast is kind of at and where it's going. We have a lot of fun doing this podcast. I hope you guys really enjoyed listening to us. Yeah, and that's just the
Because it's garbage.
That's the kind of stuff that people come for this podcast to. Oh my, and I'm just still doing it.
My name is Jeff.
Exactly. So, however, we thank you for being with us today, wherever you are, however you are listening. But you're going to see less and less of us over the next couple of weeks, probably. I'm just feeling a little burnt out at this point. We've been doing this for probably close to 40 weeks straight, I would imagine.
It's close. I think we're at like 30 episodes in season 2, which would have been all of 2021. So
plus since the start of college football season last year, and college football is a month and a half away from training camp and 2 months kind of from kickoff. So I'm excited. So kind of over the summer here, we got family vacation, so we'll be in and out. However, what I think we're going to do is we're just going to do kind of small clips here and there. So hopefully you can kind of stay with us. We still enjoy doing it, but like I said, I at least need a little bit of a hiatus. So we just want to let you know that we won't be posting as long of episodes. We still have, 2 pending episodes you have to post yet? Is that right? Okay.
Yes. We have 2 pending episodes. We recorded 3. Unfortunately, the one there's a reason we
Yep. Yeah. So
Because it's garbage.
Exactly. So we will drop 2 full-length episodes still. It's actually 1 episode, but it took because Alex was involved. It was basically 2 full episodes. So we'll drop those, and then we'll probably drop this clip probably first, I would guess, because this is not going to be very long.
Yeah.
But basically, this is James Harden sort of appreciation clip.
Yeah. Since when did you become such a big fan of James Harden?
I was kind of thinking about that. His time in Houston, really.
Okay.
So he got a lot of hate in Houston because of the way he plays iso ball in Houston. Now, again, that's a lot what D'Antoni runs. D'Antoni runs a lot of 3-point shooters everywhere, and then it's one guy doing the majority of handling the basketball. And figuring it out whether to pass or score, and James Harden was probably the best at that D'Antoni's ever had, and maybe the best that this league has ever seen at doing strictly ISO. However, it's not sexy basketball. It's a lot of him dribbling. It's a lot of him scoring, him going to the foul line, him doing all that. But you didn't really see his full talent until he got to Brooklyn. And people really hated on him in Houston because of the style of basketball he played. But what I found and what I liked about that style of basketball is it really showcased just how durable and how strong his body had to be and durable during the course of the season, and just how really good he was. Because at some points, it was in his hand the entire shot clock, 24 seconds, for 5 or 6 straight possessions, and he would score every time, whether that be a 3-pointer, a layup, or at the free throw line. So that's really where I became a James Harden.
No one cares!
So,
Okay. Here's the thing.
Well, that's fair. That is definitely fair. However, the Nets seem to care. So the Nets The Nets are playing the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern semifinals, and that currently series is tied at 2. Well, it was tied at 2. They played last night. The Nets did win. Kevin Durant had an outstanding game, 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists. He basically, at one point, I texted my buddy, he was in 2K mode. 2K is, of course, the NBA video game. And he was just in rookie mode on that for most of the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter. The Nets trailed by as many as 17 last night. They came all the way back, and they won by 12 to take a 3-2 series lead. However, that's not why I'm bringing up James Harden.
Can I interrupt?
Can you what?
I'm sorry. You might be having some technical.
Oh, well, this platform seems to suck too. There we go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna stop this recording. We'll be right back. We're gonna double check to make sure that it's still
okay.
So we can just keep talking even when this happens. We'll be right back, everyone.
What happened? Okay, we're back, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So anyway, the Nets took a 3-2 lead last night on the backs of Kevin Durant. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant won that game for the Nets. This is not a James Harden really won the game for the Nets. However, I just want to tell you the impact and kind of, I think James Harden is underrated even though how great he is. So he wasn't, they came out with the all NBA selections and he wasn't on it. He averaged 25 points this year. He had almost 11 assists and like 7 rebounds this year for the Nets. But yet because of how he acted on his way out of Houston, I just want to, he averaged almost 8 rebounds this year. So, the way he acted out of Houston kind of soiled that a little bit. But when was the last time a superstar plays almost the entire game? Now, he was out because of a hamstring strain. He got in 45 seconds into the game. But when was the last time that a superstar of James Harden's caliber plays 46 minutes, goes 1 for 10 from the field, 0 from 8 from 3, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 points? He legitimately did nothing last night. He was the primary ball handler. He kind of set up the offense. But his impact, because of how he played in Houston, as I said, his impact on the game is so underrated. He was making dime passes late in the fourth quarter to set up easy buckets. He was getting the other players in the right position because when Durant had to play iso ball the entire second half and the fourth quarter, Harden knows exactly how he would want the guy's space, and that's how Kevin wants the guy's space, spaced on the floor. So really, this is just James Harden is a very underrated player still. When he went out in the first 45 seconds of game 1 of this series, the players were very upset. They came out and they said that, they had to emotionally keep it together because he went out. He means a lot to this team. And the fact that he was just out there, I think, turns the tide. But I will say this. Now that Kyrie Irving is out with an ankle sprain, I don't think, and I will renege on what I said last episode, I don't think the Nets win without James Harden. James Harden is the reason why the Brooklyn Nets will win the championship, and it will be solely because of James Harden. Whether he plays good or not, he is on now, at least with Brooklyn and with Houston, but again, different styles. He is playing cerebrally a lot like Chris Paul does.
Oh,
okay, so he just
was his teammate last year.
Well, it was 2 years ago, yeah. It kind of until they got on each other's nerves because they're very much the same person. But anyway, they're both very much alphas. But anyway, James Harden is he has now learned how to control the pace of the game, control the entire team. And even last night, I mean, he was trash last night. He basically hung out around the 3-point line. He went in the paint maybe twice the entire game. He played 46 minutes, as I said, because they had to, because you don't want that hamstring to get cold, they were saying during the game. So, yeah, this is pretty much, people are still underrating James Harden and his impact of that the Nets need him to win a championship, including myself. James Harden is the key for that cog to make it spin around and around and let them win a championship.
How many did Kevin Durant get on the all NBA?
No, I think he was snubbed too.
Well, here's the thing: is him and Harden only played. Kevin Durant only played 35 games,
right? And
then James Harden, with the games that he played this year, he would have played 40.
Right. So I don't have a huge problem with that, except Embiid played around the same number, and he was all second team.
Okay.
So that's fine, but then you got to leave Embiid off, and you got to add.
No, I just wanted to see who made what was on first.
Yeah. Kyrie made it, but I don't. Yeah, Kyrie made it, but neither.
And it also could have been like, oh, we don't want to give the Nets the entire freaking offer.
Yeah, I could totally see that, but Harden, if Embiid deserved an all-second team spot, so did Harden, because Harden meant more to the Nets than... Harden means the same amount to the Nets as Embiid does to the Sixers. And so before we go, baseball... Yeah. You ranted a little bit ago how the MLB and pitching is just ridiculous right now. Jacob deGrom's ERA is 0.5 or something like 0.63. It's ridiculous. So the MLB announced, or it's expected to announce, that they are going to start cracking down on pitchers can't use any substances whatsoever.
Yeah. So this year, the MLB basically said, hey, do whatever you want to the balls. We're not going to enforce it. It's still illegal, but we're not going to enforce it. And we'll kind of go, we're reviewing. We're figuring stuff out. We're researching. Sort of. And I think they kind of wanted some live action research. Now, the MLB has never had a good track record of anything when it comes to rules management. So this comes kind of on the tail end of a lot of people complaining. We're seeing spin rates increase. We're seeing more outs. We're not seeing exciting games, and that's causing
not a lot of runs. A lot of good pitching, not a lot of runs.
Yeah, which is for pitchers that's great, but for millennials and zillennials, not necessarily the generation after us, they don't necessarily want to do that. They don't necessarily want to see that. It's not games entertaining. It's one of those things that. Sorry, I had a train of thought here. It's one of those things that you'll see on an episode that we went over. MLB partnered with the Atlantic League, which is a local non-league, to test out new rules. And you'll see that be posted after this episode. I think it's good from the perspective of we can change the balls if it doesn't work. If you're a pitcher, I saw one pitcher complain that he had to hold the ball deeper. He
had to grip it harder. I get where he's coming from.
I get what
that they should have either waited. That they should have waited until
it's horrible
until the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's really what he was saying.
You have to play. Yeah.
Because he was saying he was able to grip his slider or curveball like an egg, barely just with his fingertips, and then spin it that way. But because he came out and he said he used rosin and sunscreen, which is
I thought it was just sunscreen.
He mixed it. He said rosin's still legal. which is the white bag behind the pitching mouth. Sunscreen will not be, because why sunscreen isn't illegal, they don't want there's this stuff called spider tack that looks like sunscreen, but it's stickier. So why sunscreen isn't illegal to doctor the ball with, spider tack is, and they don't want the umps to have to differentiate in between, so they just eliminated everything.
A lot of this is just panic. It's not a good PR move. One thing you want to do in PR is control the narrative, and that's not what the MLB is doing. They're letting more generations, older guys, they're seeing a lot of traction on ESPN because their game stuck. So we're going to talk about the thing that's interesting. We're seeing a lot of traction on NBC, Fox News, that sort of Fox Sports. That's what they're getting. That's what they're talking about. That's what the people in the booth are talking about between pitches, between innings, whatever the case is. It's the case. It's the way that it was. It's the way that it is. The MLB messed up here. They shouldn't have ever had it. They should have a better relationship with the MLBPA and the pitchers specifically. Batters, just put the ball in the plate. You're not Aaron Judge. You don't need home runs. Either that or MLB shorten your parks and be like the Korean League, which
I was watching the Mets and the Cubs last night, and they were talking about this because this pitcher, this ruling or this impending ruling that they're going to be enforced came down kind of.
Yeah.
And they played what that Tampa Bay Rays pitcher said about how he tore his ligament in his elbow because he had to grip the ball harder. Well, that's one of the reasons that led to that. But
probably because you threw hundreds of pitches every day.
He said the real reason is I'm 6'3" and I throw 100 miles an hour, but that 100% contributed to it.
You're the
right. No, I actually agree with him. And again, MLB should have waited until the off season until next season to enforce this so that the pitchers could,
or at least the All-Star break.
Yeah, or say, listen, you have a month and a half to figure this out, right? So it's the middle of June. You have until August 1st to figure this out, and then at August 1st, I mean, I would think that that's plenty of time. However, I'm not a baseball guy, so I don't know.
You would think they would want to do it after the All-Star.
You would think so. However, the All-Star break, I think, is in the beginning of July this year. So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it would be the end of the month. It's always at the beginning of July. It's the week of your birthday.
So no, but where I was going with that is right as they were talking about that, the Mets hit a single, and a double. And Carl Ravitch, who was calling the game, he goes, well, that's not 2021 baseball. That's 2008 baseball right there. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like, stop swinging for the fences.
So that was...
Take what the batters are giving you, or the pitchers are giving you.
And here's a great example. Did 2 runners score, or did only
2
one?
runners scored.
So... that's great baseball, because if you're doing single, double, that means during the double, the runner scored from first.
Yes.
Because if you said two runners score, single, double, runners on first and second, you hit the double, the runner has to score from second.
Right. It could have been a single, double, single. I forget. But either way, but also the one pitcher, they had the shift on to this one hitter, this one left-handed hitter. Yeah. What did he do? He took an outside pitch. He took it all the way down the left field line, and that's what it was. It was single, double, which is what I'm explaining now, and then a single, and the single that drove in both runs. It was an outside pitch, a slider that was moving, and he just took it the other way instead of trying to pull the ball 450 feet down the left field pole.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm gonna probably get in a little bit more into baseball. I'm hoping. I say that,
and then
it's not gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna be taking probably about a month off.
Hopefully we'll kind of do little 10-15 minute clips like this during our little hiatus. Sure. But really, I want to get refueled, refreshed for the summer, and then we both want to hit it hard for college football. Okay, listen, we created this podcast for one reason only: college football, and then we enjoyed. Well,
you
that's
created it.
but I created it for college football, and then I just enjoyed doing it. That I decided to do it all the way around. But I was talking to my wife, and my wife's like, I was telling her that I just feel kind of exhausted, and I don't feel like doing this. She's like, maybe you just need to take a little bit of a break before college football and get back to your roots a little bit. So that's what we're doing. Chris Paul, however, although vaccinated, somehow entered the health and safety protocol due to COVID. So I don't know if he has COVID, if he came into contact, but now he is in doubt for the Western Conference Finals, which I'm not sure how a player who's vaccinated.
Not going to even start.
Kawhi Leonard is out for the rest of the semis, and that's a big blow because they were probably going to win the next 2 games, especially with Mike Conley for the Utah Jazz being out. So now that kind of evens that series. I expect Paul George to now fall apart at some point and not be able to carry this team whatsoever, and I expect Jazz to make the Western Conference Finals. So it's going to be a good Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals, as long as Philadelphia wins, which they blew a 17-point lead. Let's not get into that. And Brooklyn wins. Yeah.
Philly?
A Doc
Philly
Rivers
joke?
team
What?
joke, more like it.
Oh.
Alrighty. Well,
that's all I got,
thank
dude.
you for joining us for this mini-sode. We're going to call it that title. This mini-sode of the 4th&1 podcast. As always, wash your hands, you filthy animals. Have a conversation, not a crucifixion. And we will see you at some point. Who knows? Please like and subscribe. Hit us up. God bless. Peace out.